study the word enough. Even the numbers in the Bible have meaning. For instance, the number 10 is considered one of the numbers of completion of divine order. There are 10 commandments. We are to give a tenth of our works to God. In the book of Ruth, there were 10 witnesses. Number 10 is used throughout the book. And if you look at the 11th chapter of Hebrews, which is one of the most important chapters in the Bible, there are in effect 10 primary characters whose faith is mentioned. And each one has a different aspect of faith. And if you look at it in a totality, each character's perception of faith or action of faith in total gives us the way we should be acting in our lives and what we are to expect in our lives. For instance, the first character mentioned is Cain and Abel, the children of Adam. When Adam sinned, he covered himself up with fig leaves, which did not do the job. God covered him up with the skin of an animal, the first sacrifice. When Cain and Abel sacrificed, Cain used the sacrifice of his own works, his growth, his crops. Abel sacrificed one of his animals, God's way. And as a result of this, there was anger developed, and Cain killed Abel. Abel therefore became the first person persecuted for his faith. And it's been that way ever since. The ways of Cain, the ways of the world, man's ways, have persecuted the ways of God. And this is not something which is just in the Old Testament. If you go to Matthew chapter 5, it says, "Blessed are they that have been persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when men shall reproach you and persecute you, and say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven, for so persecuted they, the prophets, that were before you." Persecution. If you follow the ways of God, you will in some way be persecuted. Emotionally, mentally, psychologically, subtly, or physically. In some way, you will be persecuted. Do you maintain your faith? That's the question. If you take the next person in the book of Hebrews, chapter 11, his name was Enoch. And it says that Enoch walked with God, and he did not die because he was taken. Now back in Genesis it says that he was 65 years of age before he began his walk. We don't know what happened before 65. He may have been also walking with God. He may have been a total outlaw. Who knows? But after the age of 65, after he fathered Methuselah, he walked with God. And he became so pure in his faith that he was taken. Purity is part of the aspects of one's faith. We are to become pure in our faith. 1 Timothy 3:9 says, "Holding the mystery of faith with a pure conscience." 1 Timothy 5:22, "Keep yourselves pure." 2 Timothy 1:2, "I thank God when I serve with a pure conscience. In 2 Timothy 2:22, pursue righteousness, faith, love, peace with those who call on the Lord out of a pure heart. Purity. We are to become pure. That's part of our faith. If we have true faith, we are start to become pure before God. Then look at Noah. Number 3 in the list. I'm not going to do all 10 today. But Noah showed his faith through his works, through his performance. Now, when you do something, whether it's something minor or major, or before one person, or before a dozen people, or 100 people, it's actually a performance. You perform your actions. It's not considered that in general society, but it is a performance. And Adam performed his works by building the ark that God asked him to build. The Bible says it took over 100 years to build this boat. To build a boat on dry land with no evidence of rain, no river, no lake around, is not something that most people would consider rational. But Adam did it, or Noah did it. And as a result, I'm sure he was jeered on by a number of people. But he kept doing it. And in all those years, the only people who accepted his faith was his family. But yet, he showed his faith by his works. James said, faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead. He also says, by works, faith was made perfect. Man is justified by works, not by faith alone. We can talk a good talk, but unless the works back it up, it really means nothing. See, all our faith is supposed to understand and forsake the persecution we're supposed to undergo. And it's supposed to show through the works that we do, so that we will become pure and hopefully walk with God like Enoch. There are other aspects which I'll cover later. Those 3 at least give you something to think about.